to my left, extreme left, my old friend from National Defence Academy did. You're of the same batch, same squadron in NDA, Colonel Ashutosh Kale. He's been there, done that, commanded this unit, a hardcore infantry soldier who followed that to the corporate existence and then got out to writing. And this is his third book, Rambo. And Rambo is about one person, one hero, one great warrior, but who in a sense typifies the ethos of both an Indian and a Fauji.
Major Sudhir Walia, Ashok Chakra, Sena Medal Bar, was a man just about 30 when he died. But he probably achieved more in those 30 years than most of us achieve in a lifetime. I have not written this book because he displayed conspicuous acts of gallery time and again. I didn't write this book because he displayed courage way beyond his years. I didn't write this book because he was the ADC to the Chief of the Army Staff when Kargil war broke out, and he volunteered to go and fight on the heights of Kargil and probably led the last attack in Kargil just a week after landing up in Kargil, and died a month later leading a raid on a militant hideout in which he got shot 6 times over. But I didn't write it for that. I wrote it because the acts of courage and valor that he displayed are beyond the fathoms of most ordinary men. I wrote it because this story gave me the option to explore the unfathomable notion where the will to survive gives way to the idea that death will serve a greater purpose. It is to explore that moment. And the story is about him, but there are also other characters in the book, and each of them displays an act of heroism which is very replete from the rest. Heroism is not just facing bullets or leading a charge. Heroism is standing there firm when everything else is breaking around you. That unpredictability, the chaos, making your way through that. Heroism is self-sacrifice, where you want to sacrifice yourself for the survival of your team. Heroism is standing firm in your decision. Heroism is when just an act, with just a glance or an eye contact or probably a finger will make you lose a life of a comrade. Because in cricket, at best it can be a wrong decision. Here, if you do this and the man goes and attacks an LMG or MMG and has a burst in his chest, he might end up dying in your lap. So it's these acts of heroism that I wanted to display, and which is a very large context. So that's the reason why I wrote Rambo, and that's why the book is here today. There is a story about Sudhir, and I'll tell you why his acts of heroism are so different. He was psychologically so strong. There was this incident in which they had laid an ambush, and it was somewhere in the Pir Panjal, and they shot down 3 of those militants and 2 of them got away. And without giving heed, he ran after them. He shot one as he was running, and he was running behind him. While there was a JC who was running behind him and telling him to stop, he shot the first guy. The second guy ran into a small cave inside the mountain. It was very narrow. And Sudhir, without a thought, ran into that cave behind him with all his anger and all his fury. When he got inside, this man, and it was a confined space, so he had to actually crawl with his weapon and get inside the cave. When he got in, he saw this terrorist had already lifted his weapon up and he was about to shoot Sudhir Walia. And Sudhir was on his knees and his hands. Sudhir looked at him, and there was such rage and such fear and such anger in his eyes, and psychologically he so overpowered that guy. He told him, "Rakh, hatyar rakh." And that man looked at Sudhir and kept his weapon down. And Sudhir reached out to him, pulled the weapon, caught him by the scruff and dragged him out of the cave.